Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. Tonight we are back with Love and Marriage Huntsville season 2 episode 20, Behind the Scenes. I don't know if it was just me, but it seems to me like this was like closing the chapter on this show. I don't know, it just felt like finality to me. Now, I'm not sure, I might be alone, but just the way that they wrapped it up makes it seem like, because Mel and Martell are no longer, that the show will not go on. And I do feel like Mel would not want to shoot if it had anything to do with, Ariane, her voice, a hologram of her, whatever it is, honey, she don't want nothing to do with that. And I do not blame her. Before we get into it, I just want to say welcome to all my new subscribers. Thank you so much for entrusting me with your watch time and your listening hours. I appreciate you all so much. If this is your first time here, then welcome. If you've been here for a second or third time, welcome back. Don't hesitate to hit the like button right now, right now, and subscribe to my channel. All right, here we go. So, they're telling us a little bit about behind the scenes. Carlos King tells us he is the creator and the producer. Honey, we already knew you were the man behind the mess, okay? He said he had a meeting with Mel and Martell about flipping houses. Honey, they showed this little excerpt of Mel and Martell looking real HGTV-like, and it was supposed to be called the Holt something, honey. I can't even remember what it was called. Let me see what it was called, child, because it was too much for TV, honey. So they showed this little thing about the Holts, and their thing was supposed to be about them flipping houses. But then Carlos saw that they were an attractive couple, and he said, hey, do y'all have any friends? Because maybe we can do an ensemble cast. Y'all know how Carlos likes to do, honey. He likes to place a whole bunch of people together and watch them explode, honey. Just as terrible as Mona Scott. So then we see some never behind the scenes casting tapes from Maurice and Kimmy, and then Tisha and Marceau, and they love the organic friendship. So Carlos said he put together a sizzle reel, sent it over to the networks. Then they show them in some never before seen footage. We see Mel and Martell together, and they looked so happy. Child, it truly is a shame. And I don't know why this show looks like it came out in 2008, honey. It's giving me real Housewives of Atlanta season 1 tease when they do the playback. And I'm just like, man, that's just terrible, honey. But all that glitters is not gold, okay? Carlos said a week before the pilot, Mel called him and said, Carlos, look, Martell out here in these streets again, honey. He's cheating. I'm not going to be able to do it. So she said, I'm not shooting the show because I'm not about to let him make a fool out of me. Okay, so this puts a nail in the coffin on the rumor that's going around on the internet, on Beyonce's internet, that's saying that Mel, in fact, wanted to go on the show knowing Martell was cheating. But Carlos just confirmed right here that Mel called him and said, I don't want to do it because I found out he was cheating again. So Carlos is the one who actually convinced her to move forward, honey, and put her life all in the middle of the street and her dirty laundry. He told her he would hold her hand and make sure everything was good. So she was like, all right. So then they show the dinner scene from the first season about Mel out in Martell's cheating. And the producers and the cast and everybody was just shocked that she was actually talking about this. So Mel said she decided to just put it out there since they were going to be real. Honey, let's go ahead and be real. Carlos said it made it to the network and they noticed that the chemistry between the cast and Mel meant that Mel was a star. Child, they said Mel was made for TV. So then we see the infamous car wash scene. And I'll never forget this, honey. I had a good old snack. As a matter of fact, I used to plan my meals around Love and Marriage Huntsville on a Saturday night. Because that was my show, honey. It was so untapped and nobody really knew about it. But I'm on top of everything, all things reality. So I was right there like, oh my gosh, they're asking him about his infidelity. So you see Marceau and Maurice asking Martell, did you really cheat? Really, it was Marceau, honey, because he loved to out Martell. He's like, did you cheat on her? Is that really real? Here go Martell, him and Han and lying. So I'm like, no, it was more so, more of a phone conversation, not really anything other than that, and just some text. So then Maurice said, well, were you wearing a condom during these sexting episodes? I'm like, I know that's right, honey. Lying through your old buttery teeth, child. So then eventually after they kept poking and prodding, then he finally admitted that he was cheating. So then we see some comeback group scenes, and they said that those scenes were hard to shoot because, honey, they will be rambling on and on and on and on and on for umpteen hours. The sound guy was falling asleep, honey. Production was going down, lights out, the sun was coming back up. Child, it was just too much. So we see the scene about the comeback group coming back. Martell grabs Mel, pulls her into the other room and tells her, we should just dissolve it because I don't want nothing to do with these people. But it was his greed. In that moment, I realized just how greedy Martell is in every aspect of his life. He's greedy in his aspect of relationships. He wants 5 and 6 different women, satisfying whatever this urge is he has. Little sex addict, allegedly. Okay, and then he's greedy as far as the money is concerned. Because throughout these scenes, I see him asking Marceau, well, who gonna make the money? You want to make the money? That's all he was worried about. So if the money didn't add up, he didn't want nothing to do with it. If it didn't make dollars, honey, it didn't make sense. Carlos said after the first season, they were trying to figure out how the cast will react to watching it back. Because it's different when you see yourself actually play your life out on television. The next season, we see Martell talk to Marceau, honey. Woo! Child, they was about to come to blows, honey. So, Martell over there taking his cheap shots. Marceau walks in. And he didn't want to shake his hand, because Martell petty like that. So Marceau, trying to be what he is, he always wearing that jean jacket, child. Marceau said, you get caught up and then you get mad at me. Martell said, nah, the business helped you out of a financial bind. Do you remember telling me you only had 7 months worth of income left? Do you remember that? See, I don't like people that use stuff against you on Mad Day. He stored up everything he knew about Marceau and then threw it out there when he got mad. Ugh, Martell, you just a low down, dirty dog, I swear. Martell starts talking about how Marceau money was running out, and Marceau said Martell was upset about how he was looking on TV and wanted to change the narrative. I believe that. Honey, you were mad because all eyes were on you and your cheating and your little helper, and then you wanted to flip the switch and then let everybody start looking at Marceau like he broke, honey, and ain't got a pot to piss in. I mean, that could have very well been true, but if that's your real friend and you helped him and his wife out of a financial bind, be happy that you were afforded the luxury to do so. Don't go throwing things in his face. Oh, stupid behind. I cannot stand Martell, honey. Oh, when I tell y'all he triggers me so bad, honey, that is my ex written all over him. I cannot stand him. Okay, then Martell started getting heated. He asked Marceau to leave. Honey, Marceau was like, no, let's talk about it. Honey, let's go out on the field and fight. I said, not go out on the field and fight, honey. That's some country boys. Martell don't want none of that. In a fight, I want y'all to put down in the comments, who do you think would have won, Marceau or Martell? I put 500 likes on Marceau. I'm just saying, I don't think Martell really about that life because he was just a scrawny little kid, honey, and happened to get a few muscles, child. Marceau had a whole bunch of brothers and probably would knock his whole block off, okay? So then they start getting all heated or whatever. Carlos comes and gets in between, honey. They gonna both knock him to the side. Carlos, sit down, honey. There's nothing you can do in between these big old men, child. Talking about he stepped in as like a referee. Child, your game finna be over if you don't get out the way. He said that they needed to table it because it involved other people. And they wanted to talk about it later because it was going more towards business. So then we see Mel, honey, we go over to where it all began. The Mel and Tisha saga. And I want y'all to pay very close attention to what Carlos says per my review. Honey, these are actuals and factuals. We see Mel say to Tisha that she needs to roll up on her husband at the bar and see what he's doing because clearly he's cheating. Now, this to me was a case of misery loves company. Honey, old long neck Mel went to Tisha and she was feeling some kind of way and she wanted Tisha to feel some kind of way with her. This is my thing. If you know he's cheating, say it. Name it. Name a place. Bring the receipts. Honey, don't just keep talking in circles, planting little seeds in my head. So Carlos said out of his mouth, he said Mel was planting seeds that Marceau was cheating. Then Tisha said, my husband has never cheated on me because, honey, she going to carry that to the grave. Now, there have been some reports here lately on these YouTube streets that Marceau does, in fact, have an outside child. I don't know how true it is, but it is alleged that he does have a child that can read, write, and do arithmetic. Honey, I'm just saying. So then, after that was going on, she's planting these little seeds in Tisha's head, and then Mel had her Embrace Beauty event, And Tisha made a choice to go. Okay. And I remember thinking back to this like, okay, Tisha, that was big of you because y'all had these little problems on the first season, but on second season, you're trying to do what's right. We see, because now, Mel was pretty cocky when her and Martell were one. So, it was them against the world. Mel sees that Tisha has entered the building. Kimmy was a little bit shocked. So she asked security to ask Tisha to leave. Now, production tells us in this never before seen footage that they didn't ask Mel to get security on Tisha. They had no idea that was going to happen, but honey, they was going to follow it. Yes, for the mess. Okay. Tisha said that, that was just a nail in the coffin for me. She was in the car crying, and I felt so bad looking at this scene. And she said, it's people in there. I'm a real life businesswoman, and there are people in there, and I'm embarrassed. So the production told Tisha that she did nothing wrong, and her coming there was big of her. And that's what everybody keeps forgetting, that Tisha actually did genuinely try to stop the arguing between her and Mel. But I think what's getting in the way is she keeps remembering how Mel escorted her out of that event. That's what keeps replaying in her mind. So I want us to start at the beginning instead of starting right here with the whole Tisha hate train. Honey, I don't hate either one of them. But when you're wrong, I'm going to tell you. When you're right, I'm going to tell you. If you don't like that, then, I don't know what to tell you. So then we see Tisha talking to Mel again. And Carlos said, well, over time, her suspicions had started growing. So, Tisha was like, let me roll up to the bar, honey, because I don't know what's going on. Everybody's saying he doing something. So where there's smoke, there's fire. And I hate that she did that because I've been in that position where people are saying little things to you and you're in your little bubble. You're perfectly okay. And then people are saying, girl, I saw so-and-so down here. Oh, girl, your man was down here. And then you start to believe it and think it. You speak things into existence. Girl, go head on. So production said they went inside the house and they were like, what's going on? Because everybody looks upset. Marceau said he was upset because Tisha rolled up on him at the bar. So we see the two of them talking. And that's why you can't let people plant seeds of doubt in your mind. We see them talking. And so he said, well, what did you do? Why did you do that? She said, well, I pulled up to the bar and I saw your laptop with food and like 3 drinks. He said, well, did it look like anybody else was there? Or did it look like I was doing work? She said, oh, it looked like you was doing work. And Tisha said, if someone tells you your husband is cheating, then, for a few months they start hanging out more, then you're going to start to believe it. Tisha said, she felt like, she said this in her interview, she said that she felt like people were trying to ruin their marriage. Marceau, on the other hand, said that the only people that can ruin the marriage are the people in the marriage themselves. So if the marriage does, in fact, become ruined, it's all their fault. Marceau, shut up, child. That's a cheatation slogan if I ever heard one, honey. You done cheated. I believe it, honey. And I'm going to tell y'all why I believe it. Let's get into it. And Marceau talking in circles, honey. I don't buy nothing that you saying. Boy, go on ahead. They start to argue. Tisha tells him, I called you 4 times and you didn't answer. So he said, oh, so that just automatically means you go to cheating? Honey, if you've always been answering and it's helpful walking around, well, how long, Nick, telling me that you're cheating and now you're not answering the phone? Yes, it goes directly to your cheating. So they show the reunion and they see Kimmy talking about the fact that she backed up Mel when Mel made a statement about social media. That right there made Tisha feel like Kimmy was taking her side. Then Miss Wanda showed up, honey, and went head to head with Kimmy. And Miss Wanda say they the same age, child, honey. They grew up together, went to high school together. One was a senior, one was a freshman, child. She didn't say that, but she might as well. Okay, let's get into it. So then we see Tisha and Kimmy talking. Now, Tisha, honey. Now, listen. My mouth was open on this part. Y'all get in here. Let me tell y'all what happened. Okay. So we see Tisha and Kimmy talking. Now, mind you, Kimmy and Tisha are always going back and forth because Tisha is saying that Kimmy don't really have her back this whole time. Tisha is a backstabber. So Kimmy said, she started asking why you didn't take up for me because they had a little sit down. This is when the course of everything changed, but this was omitted from the season. Kimmy starts asking Tisha, well, why you didn't take up for me when Kaya was said something about the elephant being in the room and you knew that was me. Now, Kaya is Maurice's ex-wife, and they say that Kimmy was the side chick. Now, honey, I don't know how true it is, but that's allegedly, okay? So we see Kaya meet with Kimmy and Maurice. They had their little sit down, and Kimmy was like, I don't think you ever liked me. No, she don't like nobody that done took her husband, honey. Allegedly. Girl, where are you from? So that's when they were talking about the whole side chick thing. But what we didn't see is Tisha meeting with Kaya afterwards. Child, baby, when I tell you my mouth was so open, Tisha brings her on in, honey, sits her down and says, you know what, I see your point, about Kimmy, because it does look shady, and I mean, that's just girl code. Child, Tisha. Girl, you cannot be trusted, honey. Man, my mouth was wide open. Now I see why Kimmy don't never take up for you. See, that's the part they left out, and that was a very important piece to the puzzle, because this whole time I was side-eyeing Kimberly because I thought she couldn't be trusted, honey, who don't have they sister-in-law's back. But really, it was Tisha the whole time. So Kimmy said Tisha talks about loyalty and family and requires what she does not give. Tisha's a fool, honey. A fool. Kimmy told Tisha, it goes both ways. At the game night, we see all of them and their husbands, and we finally see Destiny's husband, LeBerick. Y'all remember he made an appearance last season. So he starts saying, getting all hype or whatever he talking about the comeback group doesn't even exist. So Kimmy didn't like that statement, because the comeback group does exist. And I understand her getting upset about that, because, dude, you are just coming in. You don't know us, honey, and we don't know you. So I felt that was a true statement that Kimmy made, because she said, I don't even know you. But what I do know is that you make good chicken. I don't find that offensive, honey. That's what I know of you. Child, that's like me saying, I don't know Funky Dineva, but I know he makes good reviews. He does good reviews, honey. That's the truth. That's all I know about him. Child, go ahead on. Destiny tried to turn it into something and have a moment, honey, and told her it was offensive. Now, y'all don't know, but I was not here for Destiny season 1 or season 2.5 or 2.0 or whatever it was. I wasn't here for her when she first showed up on the scene. Okay. Kimmy tries to tell her so they meet, when this season started, they meet and they're trying to hash it out. So Destiny talks to her and tells her that her trying to demean her husband to mere chicken making is what upset her. But if y'all remember, in the beginning, Destiny said that she was upset because Kimmy said she didn't know them. So which one is it, girl? Huh? And where is LeBerick, honey? That's what they should have. That's the never before seen footage we need. Where is that husband? Child, he gonna turn into that ex, okay? So then we see them talking. Kimmy tries to tell her how she should have said it. The producer steps in and says, you know what? This ain't gonna make air, so just leave it, child. Y'all talking in circles. It ain't gonna be nothing. Mel said, she tells us that she almost didn't shoot this season because she was in her peace bubble in Atlanta. The producers made her feel okay with shooting. And then we see Marceau, and he says before the pandemic, him and Tisha were moving in different directions. Then we see her talking to him, and they're having that little talk about him saying he felt lonely. Y'all remember in the beginning of season 2? And she was asking him, well, how do we fix it? Because I don't want you saying you're lonely and then some other girl creeps in. Honey, them eyes on Marceau said it all. Child, shifty as hell. Marceau, you have definitely cheated. Allegedly, okay? It might have not been 20 women, but it was somebody. I'm just saying, I could tell that look. Then we see Kimmy and Maurice having a nice, nasty conversation about Jalen, old goofy self. We see the production ask Martell, after this last episode, we see them ask him when he gets in his car, why did he leave the conversation? Because he wasn't in control of the conversation. Martell wants to be in control of everything that goes on. Mel was no longer playing the fool, so it didn't fit into his, into his narrative, honey. Get into it. He said Mel started digging. Boy, please. Boy, gone. So then we see the producer, Brent, talking to Mel and asking her if she's done with this, because he said, in the end, what we really need to be worried about is the mental health and mental state of the cast. And I was like, oh, so she was like, I'm just tired of the fake, honey. It's a mess. Martell says Mel always tries to comfort him. Then we see how they feel about when the show first started. Martell said he was moving forward in his career. He was very zoned in on what he was doing, zoned in on cheating. Okay, let's not leave that part out. Tisha said she was a full-time stay-at-home mom. Marceau trying to keep it that way because he want to make sure you don't get out and start inquiring about what's going on in little small Huntsville. Kimmy says she was less tolerable. Okay, she tolerates a little bit more now than she did before. Mel says she had an amazing, wonderful marriage and children and businesses. Girl, what? Say what now? Now what that happened now? You had an amazing marriage. Girl, I don't know who lying and who telling the truth, child. I really don't understand because you definitely did not have an amazing marriage. If you tell us constantly that Martell had been cheating for 4 years and then it came out and it came back, you didn't even want to shoot the show because you found out Martell was cheating yet again. I'm so confused as to how things are amazing when that is what's happening, or how men are good when they're cheating on you. Okay, girl. She said she was moving on up the ladder. Then we see the production tell us we don't know how things are going to move forward with Kimmy and Mel, but only time will tell. Kimmy and Maurice, they show a little excerpt of them arguing over their sons. Kimmy feels like that Maurice doesn't give his all to Jalen. But I've seen him try to help Jalen, but maybe that's just for the cameras. She feels like Monster gets more. And then I actually saw Laderick or Sadaric, or what is his name? Laderick. He was actually seen on camera. See, they didn't show that because this whole season I was assuming that Laderick was not in any scenes. LeBerick, that's his name, LeBerick. I was assuming that LeBerick was not in any scenes, but he actually was. They showed it when her and Kimmy were supposed to have that little talk. Then they talk about Scott Manor, and they said that if Kimmy moves there, then we could get a spinoff. Honey, I don't want no spinoff of watching boring Kimmy and Maurice not arguing. They really are arguing, and Tisha constantly saying, come on over, I'm having another event at the house. I don't want to see that, honey. No, we don't need no spinoff of them. I'm good. They said they don't know how they're going to be able to shoot Martell and Mel separately, because now they have to co-parent. And they re-showed the scene of him talking to Ariane in the car. Doesn't she sound like Mel a little bit, or is it just me? When she said, this is your child, I was like, is that Mel? Honey, he got a voice type. Honey, I don't know if that's a real thing, but that voice sounded like Mel's. Then the stupidest thing that was said as the episode comes to a close. No, you know what? Let me, before I get to the stupidest thing, Marceau said something that was so funny to me. He said, I don't know if it's going to be Love and Marriage Huntsville or Hate and Divorce Atlanta. He is such an idiot. You need to worry about your own marriage, Marceau, honey, because Tisha's starting to sniff around and figure out what's going on. So you better be quiet. Then the dumbest thing that I heard on any reality show this season was Maurice saying the happy ending would be Mel and Martell remarrying. I mean, it may or may not happen, but we'll see. Maurice, are you dumb or is you stupid, honey? Why would you want her to go back to a man who has belittled her, embarrassed her, called her a hoe? Honey, I'm never going to let that go. The mother of your child who bore 4 children for you, a hoe on national TV, created a whole nother love child. And according to the streets, honey, it's alleged that he has 4 and 5 or 6 different children. Aside from the 4 that he has with Mel. Papa was a Rolling Stone. And you want them to remarry because of what? So that the show can continue and y'all can continue to cash those scope checks? Boy, gone. Anyway, that concludes the season, Love and Marriage Huntsville season 2. I do not know if they will be back. Carlos King cooking up something in the kitchen. I just know he is. But I just thank you guys so much for listening. That is the end of our Love and Marriage Huntsville reviews. I will be here for whatever they throw at us next. As always, please don't hesitate to like, share, subscribe to my channel. As always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.